This video will guide you through 8 steps needed to write a letter of intent. Letter of intent drafting is a frequently requested service on the Contracts Council platform, since business owners want to make sure they are legally protected when outlining the terms of a future business transaction. If you need to write a letter of intent, this video is for you. Before we start, just a brief disclaimer. The following information is provided for educational purposes and in no way constitutes legal advice. For legal advice, we encourage you to consult a licensed attorney. We have also provided more information in the description below, including how to find an attorney. We will cover the purpose of letters of intent, key terms to include in your document, and 8 steps to follow to write your letter of intent. We've also added a link below with information on lawyer pricing if you want to know the cost of hiring a lawyer. Now let's get started. Purpose of letters of intent. Letters of intent, or LOIs, are documents that outline the understanding between 2 or more parties which they intend to formalize in a legally binding agreement. They are often used when purchasing a business or formalizing a business partnership. The purpose is to clearly define the terms of a potential agreement, protect the interests of all parties involved, and ensure mutual understanding. Some reasons why using a letter of intent is important are as follows. 1. They create a clear preliminary agreement of terms and conditions. 2. They protect the interests of all parties involved. 3. They provide a framework for negotiations. 4. They help prevent misunderstandings and disputes. And 5. They ensure all parties are aligned on the key points of the deal. What to include in your letter of intent. There are common terms used in letters of intent. Here are some you will find and should use. 1. Introduction. This section states the purpose of the letter and the parties involved. 2. Description of the transaction. This section outlines the nature of the transaction or agreement being discussed. 3. Key terms. This section details the key terms and conditions such as price, payment terms, and timelines. 4. Due diligence. This section describes any due diligence that needs to be completed before the final agreement is signed. 5. Confidentiality. This section protects any confidential information shared during the discussions. 6. Binding versus non-binding provisions. This section specifies which parts of the LOI are legally binding and which are not. 7. Termination. This section outlines the conditions under which the LOI can be terminated by either party. 8. Governing law. This section states which jurisdiction's laws will govern the LOI. And 9. Signatures. This section includes spaces for the signatures of the parties involved, indicating their agreement to the terms outlined in the LOI. 8 steps to writing a letter of intent. Here is a list of 8 steps you can follow to draft your letter of intent. 1. Review the commonly used terms discussed earlier in this video or find a template online to use as a reference. This will allow you to know what to include. 2. Identify the key information you want to include in your letter. This may include details about the transaction, key terms, and any due diligence requirements. 3. It is critical to use clear and concise language that both parties can understand. 4. Once you've written your clauses, organize them so that they are logical. For example, you likely want to have the description of the transaction section come before the key terms section. 5. Be sure to incorporate any applicable laws and regulations that may be specific to your state or industry. Note this may require research. 6. If you are unsure about anything, consider using Contracts Council's platform to seek advice from an experienced lawyer that works on LOIs. We've included a link in the description to help you. 7. Review and revise the letter to make the language clearer and confirm you have included everything needed. And 8. Create a single document to serve as your letter of intent and ensure all parties have access to it. Drafting a letter of intent is a vital step in protecting the interests of all parties involved in a potential agreement. If you need help from an experienced lawyer, feel free to search Contracts Council or visit contractscouncil.com and post a job to get quotes from lawyers to help you. Thanks for watching!